Okay, so we just had our first class, and let's go over some of the exercises that we did in class. So, of course, you can work with whatever brand of watercolors you'd like. I am working with the Daniel Smith Essentials set. We have divided them up into the warm colors, the Pyrrole Scarlet, the New Gamboge, and the Phthalo Blue, and our cool colors, the Quinacridone Rose, Hansa Yellow Light, and the French Ultramarine. So, I have those set up in my palette. My warms I have on this corner, and my cools I have on this corner. That way I always know what side of the palette I'm working on. And I have separated my convenience colors into warm and cool as well. So my divider line is kind of my spot where I know that that's where my warm colors are living down here, my cool colors are living up here. So we're going to go ahead and swatch. I want some clean water. And since they're up top, I'm going to start with my cools. So when you swatch, now my paints are pretty moist. They are fairly new on the palette. They have been activated. So I'm pretty much ready to use these. Um, so I've just gotten my brush wet. I've dipped it in the paint. And I'm coming over here and making sure that I have a nice consistency where I've got rich pigmentation, but the paint is movable. So I'm using a whole sheet of paper here to swatch because I really want to see, and I actually might make this even a little bit thicker to swatch. I want to see kind of what the color looks like at its most intense, and then I will grab some more water. I'm not grabbing any more paint, but I want to see how far this paint will go and how light it will go before I really can't see it anymore. So that's about as far as it's going to go. So I will label that in just a little bit. So that was my Hansa Yellow Light. Now let's go ahead and do our Quinacridone Rose. Okay, so nice and rich right here. And then we're just going to start picking up water and dragging it down. To see how far this color will extend. Okay, and it even can extend a little bit further into something really, really pale. Okay. Next, we have our French Ultramarine Blue. I'm just continuing bringing water down to see how far we can get that blue to go. Okay, now let's move on to our warms. And we'll start here with the New Gamboge. And you saw there that my brush was a little bit too dry when I started, so I just added a little bit more water and kept it moving. The water does help the paint to move, so it's important that you maintain water on your brush, otherwise your paint is not going to go anywhere and you're not going to get watercolor effects. Okay, now we will do Pyrrole Scarlet. So I keep thinking my brush is shedding, but honestly I think it's dog hair. I have 2 dogs, so it is a constant issue in the studio because they're not in here right now, but they do like to be studio dogs and to hang out with me when we're working in my studio. Okay, what a pretty color. All right, and lastly, we are doing the phthalo blue. And this is phthalo blue green shade, which pulls it toward the warm. And I think that is something that we didn't talk about in class, how a certain color may be warm in one set and cool in another. It just depends. And so that's why it's really important for us to swatch. Because once this phthalo blue green shade gets to these lighter spots, you can see it looks very much like cerulean. So now we're going to wait for these to dry and label everything so we know exactly what our paints are going to do. We're also going to be able to see as they dry the amount of granulation. That means how much the pigment separates from the binder. So you can see little dots. We'll see how much of that happens. So this is a fantastic first step when you get new paints. It's something that I highly recommend that you do every single time. And then once you have your palette set up, you need to create a little swatch and label every single spot. Because if you put away your paints for a little while and then you come back to them, chances are you're going to forget where you put stuff. Okay, I hope this helps. Now let's do color wheels and get on to fun stuff. Okay.